And it sucks to say that because, you know, obviously you want to give back to the people who've made you to where you are, but it's also a quick way to be at the wrong place at the wrong time and trigger your toxic ways, I guess you could say.
Yeah, if you're gonna, you can't just hang around the same people you used to hang around when you get money. Especially if you're in the hood. Especially if you're a black athlete, unfortunately. Sorry. Doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It's a lot of white athletes.
Baker's from Miami.
It's a lot of white athletes who go back to their hometown and are fine.
And Dunbar's from Miami, too.
But unfortunately, in the black community, it's kind of a crabs in the barrel situation. You get around people who have money or they've made it, and other people who are maybe just living, you know, a normal life. There's just some inherent jealousy and hatred there. It's unfortunate. And sometimes you got to get away from people. It's really shitty and sad for me to have to say that, but it's just a reality. Like, you can't be around the same people.
If you are,
you can't be in the same environment you grew up in.
If you are, you got to take
Florida.
precautions. You know, you got to have some associates around you who can do the dirty work for you.
Yeah, but even then, that's how people get clipped.
But yeah, you're right.
Leave your hometown, bro. It's a whole ass world out here. Like,
shoot, take your family with you if you have to.
If you get rich, you got to insulate yourself from people who, I'm sorry, are who you know will pop off. Like, sorry, you find out who you are once you put money in front of people. Or you put money around people or access to money around people. You find out who they are. And in this situation, being from Florida, he should have known better.
Yeah.
Bro, you know Florida is wild. But of course, I think it's a bigger issue because guns are involved and it's robbery. But in Florida, that probably happens every day. Which is a crazy part to say, but doesn't it happen every day in Florida?
Yep.
Name that state. How many stories we seen that start off with name that state?
Yep. All right, man. Can we get a taker tangent drop, please?
Notice I didn't fully do that because I don't want to get sued for copyright infringement. Damn, I can't see. Why is this all the way down here?
Oh, keep going. You're almost there.
Oh, shit. Up.
Uncle Barry and technology.
Shut up, bro. Damn.
Come on, Theo.
What game are we playing again?
Come on, Theo.
Remind me, what game are we playing again?
Say the game's name.
Say it.
Take or tangent.
Bitch.
Ahmaud Arbery, the man who was slain in broad daylight while running through a Georgia neighborhood, jogging, is also the cousin of Tracy Walker, a Lions defensive back, who, you know, is obviously mourning his cousin's loss. So you got to take your tangent on that.
The mother,
obviously sad and grim story.
The mother came out and said, "My son is dead. The people who murdered my son deserve to die too." Finally, the family of a black person who gets murdered by some white supremacists comes out and says, "No, we want justice. You got to die too." No, you killed our son. You killed our daughter. By the way, the Breonna Taylor story is even crazier than this one. But the fact that this dude got murdered in February and we're just now finding out about it, I'm pretty sure that entire community knew.
We didn't talk about this, but there was kind of this whole issue on social media that, like, I kind of came across, but I didn't really know what was going on. But everyone was just kind of talking about, like, watching and sharing that video and how some people have taken the stance of, like,
I'm not going to watch another person get murdered.
And other people will still watch it and then complain about others who watch it and share it. So I'm just interested on your thoughts on that conversation that we have pretty much any time these sort of things happen.
I have yet to
pretty much
see,
happen every other month.
I've yet to see the video, and I never will see the video. I've seen enough dead black kids. I've seen enough dead black people.
But I'm just saying about the conversation of whether or not to watch and share it. Like,
I think
do you think it's so productive to still have the same conversation about whether or not we share and watch it? Because there's people like you who've already crossed that line that I'm not going to do it. And then there's other people who are probably just going to watch it anyways because they ain't got shit better to do.
I think,
or don't know any better.
I think it's to that. I think it's just going to be levels to it. Okay, God forbid, I show you a video of someone you care about getting murdered over and over again. Eventually, you're not going to want to see that shit. So some people have to come to it in their own time.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying is the fact like. Is having that conversation going to change anybody's mind who's going to watch the video anyways? And the people who already aren't watching the video aren't watching the video. So
I think it's more of the issue of law enforcement. I think it's more.
Which in this case, it wasn't law enforcement. It was some fucking assholes.
But the asshole who recorded it should definitely be getting be up for charges too, because apparently you can hear in the video he cocked his gun. So I'm like, were you planning to kill this dude if he got by him? He was pretty much boxed in, and he didn't know you had a gun. So and by the way, the history of Georgia is that, for y'all who don't know, y'all can just go ahead and research this if you don't believe me. But Georgia was just empty territory. The Gullah Geechee people who were enslaved down in the South, they would run and escape through Georgia and get to Florida. Once they got to Florida, they were considered free. That's why you have the Seminoles down there, and the Seminoles are black, and a lot of different groups of people, black people who got down to Florida and, became safe. They would go through Georgia to get, from other states. And eventually they said, okay, well, we got to make Georgia like pretty much a slave catching state to stop all these slaves from getting through Georgia free of charge. So that's pretty much how Georgia was founded as a state. Is that it was a territory that people were escaping through to get to Florida. So there's a really nasty, vile history of racial animus and prejudice and just white supremacist tactics against black people in Georgia. And that's why they have those black dudes down there with guns patrolling the scene, because it's like, you can't tell me that nobody in that neighborhood knew what was going on, and that dude got murdered in February, and then the DA had to recuse herself because she worked with the dude who was a former cop and had no right to even be bothering that man. And when it comes to watching the videos and talking about watching the videos, it's like, okay, once you get past that, well, what needs to get done? Justice. So I just want to know how long they had the video. Who else had the video? I think they should put a subpoena out for everybody's internet servers. I want to know what people were sharing that video in that neighborhood. Who else knew? Because that dude didn't just get murdered in broad daylight and then nobody knew anything that happened when they didn't want to bring charges about in February. And it's what? May now? Like, we're not stupid. Come on. And so my thing is just, I'm cool with what the mother said. You need to give them the death penalty. It's only fair. It's only right. And then apparently it might have been Silver Lake, but out here in LA, this white dude and his dog, he told this black guy, you need to stop running in my neighborhood. And the black dude turned around and recorded him and called him a bitch. He's like, hey, why don't you turn around and say that again in my face? Why don't you tell me that I can't run and jog in the neighborhood that I live in? See, black people are really getting tired of that shit. You're not going to keep telling us we can't go places and do stuff. And that's what you're seeing across the country, is more of this shit being caught on camera that people have been saying, that my grandparents were probably saying, that my parents were probably saying, and their grandparents were probably saying. You're finally seeing more of it, and now you're seeing a lot of people who were playing dumb or didn't want to believe it, living in whatever make-believe situation, now they're realizing, oh my God, this is happening. This is horrible. Like, we don't have, my thing is, don't have a bunch of like surprised outrage about horrible shit that's been happening forever. You just didn't do the research. Sorry, kids have been getting put in cages forever by this government. You just now caring now, but you're really fake caring. Because, like, unless you're actually doing something to help the situation, unless you're actually, when you're connecting with people in your neighborhood, unless you're holding local police and all that shit accountable, I'm going to wrap this up, then really you just yelling and saying, oh my God, this video is horrible, let me share it to other people, it's useless. Like,
I just went down a wormhole on the state of Georgia, but yeah, that's the only reason why I was letting you ramble, because I like honestly didn't want to have that conversation, because we've had that same conversation.
Yeah, we had this conversation like a million times.
But I was just more enamored about the conversation about the conversation. That's more of what I was asking about.
Yeah, but to your point, I was saying, like, people know, and the people who are figuring it out now, like, they just want to fucking... It's like they're the same people who want to watch it and keep sharing it. They're the same people who stop and watch car crashes. They're the same people who will sit there and watch somebody get carried into an ambulance instead of going about their day. So those people, I don't put much stock into, because they ain't really about shit. Like, I don't need to keep seeing videos of people dying.
All right, man. So Tom Brady reveals that the lack of input he had in the offense was one of the reasons he left. He also said he kind of had a falling out with Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator of the Patriots. So do you got a take or a tangent on that situation? And
I can imagine Tom Brady was like 2 seconds away from slapping the shit out of Josh McDaniels.
Like,
because he pretty much was like, if he was gonna come back, he knew he wasn't gonna have as much offensive input as he wanted to.
I've been saying this, but I just feel like overall we've been hearing more from Tom Brady like this past offseason than ever. So I don't know if that's a product of like, you know, him getting older and him wanting to share himself before the curtain calls, or if it's a matter of like he's no longer with the Patriots and he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
I feel like it's the Patriot way. I feel like we're going to see him actually let his hair down more. Because you would never hear him say this when he was with the actual Patriots. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, I thought he was the Patriot way. I thought the Patriot way was him. Like, I thought he was the driver of that culture, but apparently he's not. It's more like when Michael Jordan in The Last Dance, like, Belichick.
Which I'll get to later.
Belichick holds everybody accountable and treats even the guy who's a Hall of Fame quarterback the same as everybody else. And eventually that shit can get on your nerves. As Herm Edwards once said on Hard Knocks, when Jason Dunn, that tight end, didn't get his room, he said, I treat everybody fairly, but I don't treat everybody the same. And Belichick clearly treats everybody the same. And that's probably what pissed off Tom Brady. And if McDaniels is the head coach in waiting behind Belichick, which is what it looks like,
the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, you're not going to get your input, Tom. Shut the fuck up. And then probably that's why they had so many shouting matches. And eventually, if you keep having shout matches with people, you're not going to want to talk because there's nothing getting said. Y'all just arguing.
All right, Colin Kaepernick update.
What?
His former coach, Jim Harbaugh, was cited by The Athletic, Tim Comey, saying, quote, when asked if Colin should get another shot in the NFL, he said, quote, I love Colin, did then, do now, always will. I hope he gets a shot. I hope that he has a chance to play again and that he does play. Just my personal view on it. Don't know all the ramifications, but I keep in touch with both Alex Smith and Colin. I'd love to see Colin get another shot at playing. I love watching him play football, and I hope Alex can come back too. So do you got a take or a tangent on Harbaugh being in Kaepernick's corner finally?
I mean, he was in his corner enough to start him and risk his job.
That's true.
So
that's fair.
He went, he went down with the ship when it came to Kaepernick in the Super Bowl. He said, I did what got us here, running the ball and Kaepernick. So, I'm not going to knock that. He was even loyal to Alex Smith until he realized I got to play the better guy who gives me a better chance to win. And also, last week, I forgot to talk about it, but Alex Smith was working out on his 33rd or 30, I think it's 36th birthday?
Yeah.
He was working out, doing some light jogging, light running. That's a miracle, dude, because his leg was mangled.
They said it was like a war veteran.